Well, here's my mystery tool for you. See if you can figure out what this is used for, and then I'll have you pause this video and try and guess, and then I'll show you what it does and how to make one. First of all, this is a piece of fur. You can see it has a slit in it right here. And then on top of it I have a piece of, looks like walnut, and I have a pivot point screw right here. And then I have a pin I can pull out here, and it allows me to move this to this second hole, and I can lock the pin back in there and hold it fast in that place as soon as I get it in there. Then I can pull it out and swing it back to this location, put it in there like that. And then I also can turn this little knob and it will let me slide this back and forth on here. It travels on a track, and I can show you the track from a different angle here. You can look right down the track, and then if I flip it over, I have a piece of material about 3/4 inch wide, and it's screwed on here at 90 degrees to this piece. So, would you right now go ahead and freeze up this video and see if you can guess what this thing does? Well, how did you do on that guess? This is a guide that will help cut exact lengths on my bandsaw for dowels or small pieces of wood. And I can use this lever and a small ruler right here to decide if I want to make a piece of wood, let's say 1 inch long. I can lock that in, and then I can take that piece of wood and put it right square against here and run it right through the bandsaw blade and get that 1 inch cut. I can also take it and adjust it accordingly down to a very, very small piece, lock it into place, and make that cut also at that spot. Now I can take it and run it back, and I can go back a greater distance, and if I would like to, I can also pull out this pin and tilt it to a 45 and pull my jig into, this one doesn't slide in quite as easily. I can pull it into a position where I lock in my stop, pull it back, and then I can lock in my piece of wood and run it through the blade at the distance I would like it to be. Now this also would work really well with dowels, so I'll just pull that out, slide it back here, and put it into that position, and I'll show you what it does with a dowel. In this case, I'm going to set it for a 1.5 inch cut, lock it in there exactly where I want it. I'll pull my ruler out, and then I can go ahead and set this into place and run that through and get that cut. Let's take a look. Since this is my first version of this, I think a way I will change it is to remove this screw and move it way down here, and then I'll have a pivot point that's set so I can put a wider piece of material here if need be. Now, to show you how this is made, I took a piece of wood approximately 10 inches long and squared it off real good, and then you can see on the back what I did is I took and I ripped a piece of maple. This is really hard material, and after I had ripped it, the width was about 3/4, but you have to make it the width of your bandsaw or table saw if you're planning to use it on a table saw, and then also split it again the other way so it will fit down into the channel and not hold this piece of wood above the channel. So then after you've done that, you want to square it up, and I would do this right on the table. And a method I've seen done that works pretty well is if you take and put a little bit of super glue on the underside of this piece of material and lay it right in the channel of the bandsaw. Then take this piece of material and push it right down. Sometimes what you'll have to do is put a couple small pieces of wood like matchsticks or something underneath this to hold it a little bit above the channel. But when you set this down on it, set it down and then square it 90 degrees to the blade with a square. After you've done that, you leave that super glue there a few minutes, and then you can flip it around and possibly already have these holes drilled in there and countersunk. And then since that's held in place at 90 degrees with the super glue, you can go ahead and sink these screws in and lock it in for perpetuity. Okay, then when we go around here, what I did is I took this piece of wood, and you can see when you look down that channel, I ran it through the table saw multiple times and I got cuts to where I got this L shape. And then I took another block of wood and I took that L shape and I traced it on here, and then I simply took the bandsaw and went in, and then cut a diagonal, and then cut like this and swirled in and cut back that way. In other words, I did a bunch of relief cuts until I got this. You can see it's even a little rough in here still, but it does the job. Then I took a bolt, and you can see this is a bolt here, and I made a little wooden knob, but I didn't have to. I drilled a hole into the bolt and took a little piece of this metal material and glued it into that bolt with epoxy. After I did that, I messed around with the length of this bolt until I could just move it like that, and it would come out enough to lock in. And it would lock in and touch this piece of wood and be locked in place with just a half a move like that. And so you can see I can put it on here and go and throw it back, and then just with a slight move like this, it's locked in place. And then over here, after I got that 90-degree spot, I drilled a hole straight through this piece of wood and this piece of wood, and the bottom wood. And then this pin is part of a sink faucet plug, and it works really well and drops it in there and locks it into place and can be pulled out, rotated to 45 if need be. So this is something that I just came up with, and it's really good for making a lot of short pieces. Like, let's say you want to make 20 pieces that are 3 inches long. You can set it up here quickly, knock them out, and then you're done. You could probably come up with some other refinements to make this better. I hope this, all it does is tickles your brain a little bit, and you can go ahead with your own creativity and build on top of this. Good luck, and thank you for watching.